Imagine a world where the flow of goods, money, and even ideas is controlled by a single road, river, or sea route. Sound powerful, right? Well, that's exactly how trade routes have shaped global power for centuries, and they still do today. By the end of this video, you'll see how a single route can make countries rich, powerful, and sometimes even start conflicts. And you'll realize it's closer to your life than you think. Why the world's most powerful nations fight over trade routes. Trade routes are like the arteries of the global economy. Just like your body needs blood to carry oxygen and nutrients, countries need trade routes to move goods like oil, gas, electronics, clothes, and food from one place to another. Whoever controls these routes can influence the flow of money, resources, and even power. Think about it this way. If a country controls the busiest sea passage in the world, it can charge shipping fees, delay goods, or even impact global prices. That's why empires in history, from the British Empire controlling sea lanes to the Ottoman Empire guarding the Silk Road, fought over key ports and waterways. Imagine the world's economy stopping, all because of one canal. Let's take a real example that shocked the world, the Suez Canal in Egypt. This canal is only about 120 miles long, but it connects two massive oceans, the Mediterranean Sea and the Red Sea. Because of this shortcut, ships traveling between Europe and Asia save thousands of miles and weeks of travel. That's why nearly 12% of the world's total trade passes through this narrow canal. In 2021, a single giant container ship accidentally got stuck sideways in the canal. For 6 days, the canal was completely blocked. Now here's the shocking part. Over 400 ships were trapped on both sides. Cargo worth billions of dollars was delayed. Oil tankers couldn't move. Factories in Europe waited for parts. Retail stores in the US waited for products. All because one route stopped working. But why the world panicked? When ships stopped moving, oil deliveries were delayed. When oil supply slows down, prices go up. That's exactly what happened. Fuel became more expensive. Shipping companies paid extra money. That extra cost didn't disappear, it was passed on to customers. So within days, gas prices rose in Europe and the US. Electronics arrived late. Clothing brands missed seasonal sales. Online orders were delayed. This showed one powerful truth. If trade routes stop, the global economy slows down immediately. Now you might think, okay, that's interesting, but how does it affect me? Well, think about your morning coffee, your favorite sneakers, or your online orders. Most of them are produced in different countries and shipped through global trade routes. When a trade route is blocked or disrupted, prices go up. Flights become more expensive. Your groceries might cost more. Even the electronics you love, like your laptop or smartphone, could be delayed. So, trade routes don't just control global power. They control the prices and products in your everyday life. Here's the big business lesson from the Suez Canal crisis. Control the route, control the money. Countries that control trade routes earn toll fees, political influence, economic power. But individuals and businesses can learn too. Smart businesses never depend on only one supplier. Always have backup routes. Think globally, not locally. During the Suez blockage, companies with alternative suppliers survived. Those with only one route suffered huge losses. The lesson is simple. Diversification is power in trade, business, and investments. Why controlling trade routes gives countries enormous power. When a country controls an important trade route, it doesn't need to fire a single bullet to become powerful. Control over movement is enough. Let's break this down country by country. The US doesn't own most trade routes, but it protects them. What the US does: maintains the world's strongest navy, patrols key sea lanes like, the Red Sea, the Persian Gulf, the Strait of Hormuz. Why this gives power? Most global oil moves through these waters. If oil flows safely, prices stay stable. If oil is threatened, prices jump worldwide. Because the US protects these routes, global trade trusts the US, giving it massive political and economic influence. China depends heavily on sea routes to export goods and import oil. What China does: controls parts of the South China Sea, builds ports across Asia, Africa, and Europe, invests in global shipping through the Belt and Road Initiative. Why this gives power? If China controls shipping lanes, it can speed up deliveries for allies, slow down trade for rivals. Many countries become economically dependent on Chinese trade. This turns China into a manufacturing and logistics superpower, not just a factory. Russia uses energy pipelines and shipping routes as leverage. What Russia does: supplies oil and gas to Europe, controls key energy routes to neighboring countries, uses energy pricing as political pressure. Why this gives power? Countries dependent on Russian gas must think twice before opposing Russia. Energy supply equals political influence. Russia doesn't need to block ships, it can turn valves. Iran sits next to one of the world's most critical trade choke points. What Iran controls: the Strait of Hormuz. Around 20% of global oil passes through this narrow waterway. Why this give power? Even a threat to close the strait causes oil prices to rise instantly. Global markets to panic. Iran uses its location as leverage, even without strong allies. Egypt controls one of the most important man-made trade routes. What Egypt controls: the Suez Canal. About 12% of global trade passes through it. Why this gives power? Ships save weeks by using the canal. Egypt earns billions in fees. A single blockage affects Europe and Asia instantly. Egypt doesn't need a huge navy. Its canal is its power. Never forget this simple truth. Countries that control trade routes don't just move ships, they move prices, politics, and people's lives. So the next time you tap buy now or watch gas prices change overnight, remember, it's not random. Invisible trade routes thousands of miles away are quietly deciding prices, power, and even peace. And here's the shocking part. These same trade routes have been a hidden reason behind every major world war. In my next video, I'll expose the real forces that pushed nations into global conflict. The truth most history books skip. If this video opened your eyes even a little, subscribe now and share it with one friend. Because once you see this, you can't unsee it.